made it. We're a minute late. We inviting. Hi, we're inviting the Leo energies. We just wanted to do a couple more things before coming in here. It's been all go. We're trying to light an incense, but yeah, in 10:53, we're still in the Leo moon energies until 10:55 in 2 minutes. Leo moon, we might not be out for very long. So yeah, just to let you know, Leo moon energies rules, Leo rules the heart, the upper back. That's the one we know well because that's the one in the Llewellyn book, which we've been doing for 5-6 years. I think we've got 6 of them now. We were planning to do this on Sunday, but then Cancer got moved from Saturday to Sunday, and then we were planning to do them together, but the top banana. Yeah, we've been taken very deep with these ones. So what are we on today? And then we were planning to do it yesterday, but we had more trauma shifts and everything to go through. So yeah, we got there this morning. Heart. So we welcome in the Leo moon energies in the internal body of the heart, aorta, blood pressure, blood circulation, and the upper back. The upper back's hugely important for us. So this is series 2 of the feet, episode 10, unit 9. We can't tell you the whole thing because it doesn't come up on here. Okay, we can. It's actually the luminaires, the Grandma Moon is actually up at night at the moment, and the sun's up in the day, obviously, but the moon has been up with the sun. I think in the Cancer energies the other day, the moon and the sun were up together, but none were up at night. But that could have been previous. It might have just been last week and not under the Cancer energies. It's top. Yeah, okay, there's lots going on. We don't really know what we're doing. So actually, Grandma Moon's not up at all at the moment. She rises at 2:59 p.m. today and sets at 6:23 tomorrow morning. We're actually in the void of course now until tomorrow morning just before 5 a.m. So if the moon's not out at all at the moment, she's but the sun's out. Friday is the balance point, actually. The luminaires are shining for both roughly about the same amount of time, 12 and a half hours. We're in the moon time today. It'll probably go past it. But from 10:32 to 11:31 is Grandma moon time. And that's the 5th one to come up. We always thought that it was sunrise when the sun come up, but Mars was sunrise today. Yeah, we're attempting to still learn that and figure it out, aren't we? Yeah, it's tight. So Mars was sunrise at 6:35 to 7:34, and then it went the Sun, Venus, Mercury, the Moon, and then at 11:31 we're going to go into Saturn. Yeah, that would be good, won't it? Because we just had a bath. And it's the 5th. The Moon is the 5th one to come up, and Saturn will be the 6th one. Planetary hour of the day, and that's just in top. That's interesting because 5 is the house number 5 for Leo, the home of Leo and the collective natal chart when one's starting with Aries. So yes, a welcome to the Leo moon and Pisces sun. Feet Series 2, Episode 9, Unit 8, our intuitive flow state, energetic body alignment series, which is intuitively reading, learning and self-healing body series. So we do this for us, but allow whoever else that wants to join in this energetic train to come along. So I'll close that again now. So yeah, it's got very pure heart, unconditional love feelings in it. We tell Pomo, yeah, okay, we want to light the incense. We're going to go light the incense and just get a drink, and we'll just have to see what happens and what flows. Maybe we're not meant to have them. Maybe. You sure you really want it? Should we give it a break and not do it? Okay. Thank you. I've got a liquid now because we just had a bath, so we dehydrated lots, so we need the liquid. It's really handy having this pole here. We like it. Hooray! So we just got ourselves a cocktail of moon water. We've got the Pisces new moon up there and the Leo full moon, of which on Friday morning around 7, it's the Virgo full moon. And we've put in a dash of Cancer full moon, which was on the 17th of January 22. We've put loads of information on this one. We don't normally do that. Which has got Pluto, Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde Chiron. And the void, of course, same time as full moon, 11:30 at 48 p.m. and it was 27 degrees. So there's been, I think Virgo's the last one. There's been 7 full moons at 27 degrees. And Virgo's the 7th of the 7th. So that's all really important, like information. So it's got Cancer's also, this is what we had the other day on the Cancer moon energies to bring in the Cancer, and Cancer's on the global axes, which is Cancer and Capricorn, Aries and Libra. And this is the Capricorn New Moon. It was a super new moon Capricorn at 6:33 on the 2nd of January, 12 degrees 19. So they've all got slightly different information. Oh, that's 27 degrees 50. They don't know. And this was either the Pisces full moon or the Aries full moon. And that's in 21. So that Pisces full moon would have been in the month of Virgo, which comes after Leo, and Leo's a fixed sign in the summer, so it would have been at the end of summer. But we've got these going back, I don't know how far into 21 or how far back, but we've got quite a few of them going on now. So we've put them all in a cocktail of water. So we're drinking the frequencies. We didn't have to do much planning for this today because we did the planning yesterday. Not that we do much planning anyway, because the idea is to not do much planning. but the planning that we do is like getting the tuning forks out. We're going to do the drum in a minute to bring us into our body because we're in the mind. We slept in the lounge yesterday, not out of choice, but one of us emptied all the cupboards in our bedroom, so the whole bedroom's covered with stuff which we need to get around to sorting and organising. But along with keeping on top of the kitchen, we didn't have to cook anything yesterday. We just cooked rice yesterday with some juice left over from our fermented veg, and we had some food left over from the day, a couple of days before. So we really haven't cooked for a few days because we are revisiting trauma episodes. I think they wanted to put this on because normally we put on the shungite for our third eye to clear it, but this is Punamu from New Zealand, and it's been a bit about New Zealand this morning. We did 2 video edits, which is important because that the healing part of that edits the body. So Punamu is very good for the heart, and it's bringing us into New Zealand, so I don't know, we need that crystal and that healing on the third eye, the forehead, and this on the shungite on our throat chakra is what we were told in the bath by some of us. Not sure what's going to come out. I know they're all kind of discussing inside who's going to say what and what's going to be said, but not all of it's kind of appropriate, and we never know what's going to happen till it comes out. I'm going to do some tuning forks near the beginning, but not at the start, because the drum's going to come at the heartbeat drum's going to come at the start, which is a shamanic sound healing tool, bring us into the body and connect us into Mother Earth, Tita Pomo, which we were very connected into because of the deep Cancer meditation we did in the other one, which we've watched back a few times now. We haven't watched them all back, so it's interesting that we've watched that one back. Now we're here and we're not moving, we can seat ourselves down maybe into a position and see if we can set that up. That's a bit too close, isn't it? There you go. You happy, my lovelies? Yeah, and it's like nervous system of the trees. Yeah, I think one of us noticed that when we watched it back, didn't we? Okay, so you're all happy. You've done what you wanted us to do. So we did the video editing this morning. We were taken back to looking someone up in New Zealand that we went out with through their sister years ago. The book from the past is Half a World Away, which New Zealand is. So there's obviously connecting in, healing and connecting into the Kiwi altars. Born again Kiwi. Green tea, second brew. We don't put boiling hot water on the first brew. We put boiling hot water on the second brew and not on the first. And then, yeah. Because our herbal tea bag can be expensive. And we got our sister on us, unconditional love on us. Our sister gives us this joy and jasmine. We put that in body wash for the hair and some stuff on the body, moisturizer. So she accepts us all and she's really good with us all. So it's like we're putting unconditional love on us when we put that on us, and it's joy and something. Maybe joy and happiness. I don't know, joy and something, but it's jasmine. Joy and jasmine, don't know. So yeah, it's all go at the moment. So we slept in the lounge. We were hoping that we'd end up waking up with the alarm for sunrise, but we didn't. Because normally we do that and then do some breath work and stuff, but we didn't. It was random night's sleep, not because we're in the lounge. We've been waking up really early and in the middle of night we always wake up in the middle of the night a few times to go to the toilet, but normally we'll go back to sleep again. But that's why we never actually have any real deep sleep. But yeah, there's so much shifting going on as we're doing this, because this is bringing the internal body connections alive and really bringing focused awareness in the present moment to those areas of the body, utilizing the external energies, astrological energies, because it's all interconnected. bath was really good in the bath. We used to hate baths, and 20 minutes used to be a long one. But then when you get used to baths for like 7 hours, got stuck in a bath for 7 hours once, and then like normally 4 hours round thing, because we all get to relax in the bath. Even when we attempt to relax outside of a bath, we can't, but in bath we can. So 2 hours is normally quick, but this time was short. It was like half hour. Yeah, we got in after 10, didn't we? And then we had to be out like at past, but we weren't out at past, but it was pretty close. So yeah. So yeah, and keeping busy, it minimizes the ones of us that are getting really anxious and not wanting to come on here and do this. Also minimizes the ones that are resisting coming on here and doing this, because it brings in brutal honesty, especially when we watch back, but because it also brings in the resistance, because you know, people don't like to change, especially us autistic people don't like change. And also then brought us back into the energies of when we left New Zealand, because we didn't want to leave New Zealand because that was the happiest we'd been so far in our life. But it still wasn't a really, you know, we'd only been in Queenstown a couple of years, and it wasn't the healthiest of lifestyles, so it wasn't a suitable place for us to settle in those energetic patterns. But we couldn't understand why we had to leave when we were happy. But I suppose we understand more now. Plus, we wanted to prove to ourselves and other people that we weren't running away. And so we come back to here. So when people do move away from their home country or hometown, when they come back, it triggers up lots of stuff from the past. So if there is unresolved stuff from the past, it can kind of come up again. But we understand how everything's meant to have happened as it's happening for these reasons that we can't quite explain yet, but we know we will be able to in future when we develop our words and stuff more. Breathe, breathe, breathe. We talk a lot when we're really anxious. We've got our fists clenched, but mind you, our thumb's outside on that one and inside on that one. So our thinking is being enclosed by our sense of security, our relating, our working, and our feeling, whereas our thoughts on that one is overlapping all of them. And that's our left, and left was like a top page, Tom. It's really interesting, that is, isn't it? That's why we love when we analyze what the body's doing. What's that? Is that like a 2-2 portal, 1111? The alarms keep us present and focused, resets our body clock as well. The 2 vibration, it's 2 vibration that's very disconnected, because the 2 vibration is Snowflake. She was born when the host body was 2, and she was 2 when our major traumas, some of our major traumas happened physically, sexually, with grief and emotionally. Hence why the 2 frequencies really strong and important to us, and hence why we're revisiting the cycles now that we revisited in 2020. 2020 being 2 shorthand for 2 vibration shorthand for longhand vibration. 2022 being 4 shorthand, so we've already revisited the 4 frequency of the 2 vibration in the longhand, and now we're doing it in shorthand. So we've practiced in this because it's the second round, but it's 6 vibration longhand first round, because when we were doing the sound healing and when we were taking really deep, that's when Snowflake was accessed again, and that's when we were really stuck in states where the body wasn't able to be used at all. Because I suppose the best terminology we can use is that Snowflake was literally being birthed into the physical body, and babies can't use their bodies, can they? So Snowflake is us having a second round. So I suppose some people have near-death experiences, or have death experiences where they actually die, the physical body dies. And then they come back again, like Anita Morjami dying to be me. And we've had many near-death experiences, but not where that we've actually died, but before the psych ward, our autonomic nervous system was giving up and we were dying, but we couldn't leave the body to die, because if we did, we wouldn't have come back again. Everyone would have just thought we'd committed suicide as well, and they wouldn't realise it was the autonomic nervous system giving up. They don't understand the whole physical side of the things because we've not been able to communicate it to them, because we've been in these regressed states, and because conventional mental health systems, or the books, or whatever they call it, CDID has been a mental disorder, and therefore the current mental health is mental disorders happen in the mind and the brain, but it doesn't work like that. It's all interconnected into the body, and that's why we're here, because we physically experience all this interconnectedness. We just don't have the capabilities yet to be able to word it completely in the language that's needed for people to be able to receive it, but that's okay, because we will in future, and there's no rush. There's always this desperation and this rush and this need before, but there isn't anymore. We come first now. There's a lot of deep stuff coming out. We've got pink on because pink is the deeper heart. The outer heart's green. We've got that on our legs. This is the colour healing. Not baby pink though. That probably take us too young, and then it wouldn't be so good. And we don't like baby pink as much. We never used to like pink, but we like hot pink. You come out so quickly because you know that you're not meant to we don't really want you out, don't you? It's not that we don't want you out, but it is kind of, I suppose, because we're not comfortable with it all, and it's exhausting. Anita Moore's Army next to Ram Dass. They are, aren't they? Right at the end of the top shelf. We've organised all our books onto the bookshelf, and then the books that were messy on the floor have gone onto the new shelf we've put up. Some of which came off the old shelf, which is now full of all our oracle cards and tarot cards that came off the bookshelf. As all our nervous systems and sensory nervous systems start connecting again, it's interesting witnessing all the new sounds and different sounds that we hear. It's not that the sound's new, it's just that we can hear it, and then it will disappear again and go. So it's really hard, or not hard, it's challenging, because there's always different sounds going on, and then that'll go on a row and then it'll be gone. But it's not that it's necessarily gone, it's just, well, we don't know if it's gone or not because of our sensory systems and the way that we process and interpret. And we've got a whole list to write down to give to our landlord to kind of explain all this, but I think we've had to learn to get it out like this and other formats before we can explain it to him, because otherwise we can't explain it to him. But we understand now trauma, how it cuts up the body and does different things. Oh yeah, were you talking about that? So yeah, this is the present. So we've got our thoughts outside of all of that on our present, whereas we've got our past thoughts inside, because otherwise they'll take over. But when we say that we have that, it's not that we've consciously done that. Mind you, one of the altars has consciously done that, but not the ones that are functioning now consciously did it. But they only consciously did that from witnessing the body to learn that that's what the body was telling them, because the body's always telling us stuff. So it would have been subconscious from the body to start with until it was brought into the conscious awareness of a certain altar. Yeah, it gets complicated. And then that really happens because we used to witness other people and we'd always read other people. Tight or pommel. I knew that was going to happen if we moved so tightly in it. And now you're not happy because it's not over there. Happy? From witnessing other people. So I think one time when our brother was here, we talked him through his hands and what they were doing, because the ones of us that function best are the ones that speak numbers, the ones that speak body language, the ones that speak weather, but a lot of them aren't connected to the mind ones that talk. Otherwise life would be a lot easier. Our hands have opened up now. We've shifted the body pattern. You want us to talk about the van. And the van, when we lived in Uni, it was a right little energy hub. And we wrote down lists of what we wanted to, courses we wanted to do. We wanted to learn crystal healing and colour healing and other things. And realising that that's what we're learning now through this process we're going through. So therefore it's all really related. So men that like women that wear pink, is their subconscious telling them that they want to get into their deeper heart more, or they need to get into their deeper heart more? Because the need and our want's different, isn't it? You may need to get into your deeper heart more, but might not want to. Yeah, because it's so challenging getting into the deeper heart and feeling the feels, but we have to feel the feels if we want to achieve certain things in our life. But not everyone has to be brutally honest. Not everyone has to face all their denials, because denials is a tool to protect us from whatever it is we need protecting from, until the conscious mental mind is ready to process that information. But if the mental mind's not ready to process that information, and then that information comes in, then that's when you get all your schizophrenia and other all kinds of, the mental disorders and diseases happen, because there's not this alignment, there's not this congruence or coherence where it's meant to happen yet. And some may perceive that that's what happened with us, and dabbling in the ayahuasca and other things like that, but that was never done disrespectfully. That was done intentionally, and we needed that to get to where we are. But then people judge us through their own lens of perception, which is through their own experiences, and we're nothing like anyone else. We're the rare of the rare. We're backwards. We're completely different. It's also coming from people that don't believe in DID and other things like that. And then they say stuff that's actually really pretty detrimental, and no one has the right to say anything or judge anyone else's experience or actually give them advice. And when we are doing that to others, it's really what we need to be doing for ourselves. It's just our subconscious misleading us and thinking that we're giving others advice, but really it's what we need to hear ourselves and what we need to do to ourselves. I suppose that's where a sign that one is ready to do whatever. And that's why we do what we do on here, to bring it all in. But it's not easy getting through when we communicate it, when we express it, when we watch it back. It's a constructive feedback loop for information, the repetition. And it's not easy to constantly, daily be put through trauma releases, which is the memory data information releasing from the connective tissue, which will then put one into the emotional body, and one have to go through all those emotions, and then the mental body, so they have to purge all the thoughts and the words and other stuff. We've got if you think we've got a lot of videos and all this stuff out, the amount of audio diaries and video blogs we've got, personal video diaries, are just even more. And then on top of that, we're constantly talking into the mirror and doing the rest of it, because the smart ones of us, we're working together to utilize the masses of adrenaline and fear that are coming out, to focus it in a positive direction, to do what we need to do to get ourselves through this process until the left vagus nerve actually kicks in and we can settle and we can calm. And we're getting there. (2023) is going to be hugely important for that growth, but I think it's going to be 2024, which is longhand 8, shorthand 6. That's really going to be the balancing point, because 6 is the midpoint balancing point of the unseen energetic world through number language and the Tesla code of the 3 and the 6, the 9, and it's the bridge from the unseen reality into the seen tangible realities, whereas 8 and 2 are the bridges from the unseen realities into the seen. From the 8 and 2 are the bridges from the seen tangible realities into the unseen. There we go, the closing of the 2-2 portal. So it'd be a closing of the 2-2 portal in the mirror, the double one, so it's 11:22. So we're going to do the drum first and bring us into our body, to get us and teach us to experience, when we listen to it back, and to remind us to listen from our body, not from our body minds, from the minds of our respiratory system, from the minds of our circulatory system, from the minds. And so this one specifically will be, we say respiratory system actually, because it is the blood pressures related to our breath and how we breathe, and the heart deals with the blood circulation and the blood, but it passes through our lungs to oxygenate it and purify it. So it's the respiratory, to listen from our respiratory system, to listen from our blood circulation system, which is the blood to listen through our circulatory system, which is the blood circulation, to listen from our respiratory system, which is the blood pressure, to listen from our heart, to listen from our aortas, which is the valves, which controls the rhythm, which controls the pumping of the blood, which controls the wavelengths. And then in those pulses is the information, and you can relate that into Morse code and the pulses. So there's that type of information coming through. The heart, and then the upper back, because I remember when we did the thoracic ring approach with a lady through the NHS, the first time we went to see her, she said to breathe through the upper back, and it was really interesting because we've not had that before and we couldn't. But it's our upper back where we've got the congestion. The temple, I think that lump is going down, isn't it? Which is, yeah, it's the energy flow internally has to really backwards flow itself and rewire itself. We're not going to get into that too much now. But the upper back's hugely important. So we're listening through those systems in the body, and how we, if we were to put it into words, how do we do that? We do that, we're listening to the pulses, we're listening to the physical sensations, we're experiencing the feelings that may come up from that, that's uncomfortable or not. And if it's really uncomfortable, we are just be with that. And then if we're not able to pass through that or something, then we'll bring in the tools and the modalities that we've taught ourselves to learn to pass through it, which is the subtle shaking, the subtle movement, not from the whole body, because the whole body hasn't been able to do it, but from whichever part needs it. And it might be the part where the stiffness is, where the emotion, the chaos that's going on, or it may be another part which is like referred fascia pain that's completely seems unconnected from it, when actually it's really connected, but it's from another point in the meridian. So it might be our pelvis that's rigid and tight and hurting, but to do that we might just wiggle our jaw to release the pelvis, or our neck, or we might wriggle our fingers or rotate our wrists to release the pelvis, or vice versa. We pant with our breath. We do a lot of panting with our breath when the energy gets congested and stuck because it can't go anywhere, it can't do anything. We may pant with our mouth open, we may pant with our mouth closed. So it may be that we pant with our mouth open but we're panting through our nose, or with our mouth closed but we're panting through our nose. Or it may be that we're just panting through our mouth because the respiratory connectors don't link in the nose and we can't breathe through our nose, so we have to breathe through our nose. We've got a lovely little release on our inner right calf there, didn't we, on our lower leg? That was really good. I bet that's the liver meridian. Your tomo, yeah, that is liver meridian, because now it's all happening up here in the upper back, and we're talking about upper back. Your tomo, it's really fascinating, isn't it? I don't really like necessarily doing it on here. And we learned that because when other people do stuff on camera, we judge them and think that they're doing ego stuff for the attention. And then we realized that we were judging them, and we say that whenever anyone judges or makes any kind of a mark, it's a reflection of their own internal reality. So then for it's like, well, okay, if that's a reflection of our own internal reality, we're judging ourselves when we do this on camera. So are we looking for attention when we do this on camera? No, we're not looking for attention when we do this on camera. Does that mean that other people aren't looking for attention, or are? But it's all of it and none of it. It is what it is for them, but we're not learning about them. We're learning about us. And we're doing this for us to witness. We're not doing this to gain attention. We're doing this to witness ourselves and develop. But we also think it might be egotistical or big-headed. And is it egotistical? We don't really know, because we don't fully understand the ego, because so many different people say different things about the ego. But generally what we feel is that the ego, we need to have the ego to survive being human, because the human is the I am identity. But then there's the other identities of the soul and the spirit. So then what's the soul? What's the spirit? The soul is the deeper part of the I am of the physical human ego. But then you've got the human ego of the child states. But then you've got the ego of the adult states, and it's the ego of the adult states that get distorted, that go into power and greed, that are harmful, that one, I think, wants to understand and release and detach from. But for us, it's about the child state, ego, empowerment and play, where it's still being developed, and we're creating our own identity, because our identity didn't get created because all our traumas got developed so young before the personality could develop a core personality. So we're choosing who we want to be, and we're programming that into these most amazing rainbow spiral electromagnetic quantum bioorganic computers. And this is how we're doing it, and this is what we're showing our process. Because we choose not to do it because it's so uncomfortable. But we want to integrate back into society and integrate into meeting people and making new friends again. And we know that people can't be around us, or people can be around us, but the people that can be around us are all the people that, which is the majority of people that fall into the victim, perpetrator, rescuer triangles. And we're perceived as a victim because we're different, because of what's going on with us at the moment. And we can't have that, because if we get perceived as a victim, even if it's on their internal world and they're not even aware of it, that's what we read. We read the subconscious internal world of the other. And we can't go into those frequencies because it takes us too deep into our victim, which ends in dark places. And it's exhausting, constantly attempting to counterbalance those energies. So we keep ourselves on our own. But we know that we'll get the body to a state because we believe in the body's innate natural healing abilities. And it's not just that we believe. We've read stories, we've seen the stories, we've joined the dots, we've put everything together from so many different cultures, from so many different perspectives, from so many physical people that are respected in the community of healers and this, that, the other. And we've taken what works for us and we've left what doesn't work for us after real ordeals. We've always been told we're making things up, or we're doing this, that, the other. And it took us the cycle to realize we're not making it up, but we are doing what we need to do. And it's had to put us into isolation because the systems are outdated, because of people's deepest internal denials, because of how words harm more than bricks and stones, because broken bones are accepted and can have something to done in the physical reality. But the physical reality, what manifests in the physical reality, comes from the unseen reality, the mental reality, the thought reality, the emotional reality. And this is the paradigm shift that's happening at the moment. And we're way ahead of our time. Of course, we're triple Aquarius, we're Sun Aquarius, Moon Aquarius on the Western astrology charts, and the South Node Aquarius. But we're choosing who we want to be. So we've got to know ourselves on the Western astrological charts, but we're choosing now to get to know ourselves on the Vedic astrology chart, because that has a Capricorn moon, which is more grounded. And it's on the global axes. So what does that mean if it's on the global axes? That means we'll understand the systems and the governments and the societies better from an internal depth. Still got the Aquarius sun, but it's Aquarius sun on the Capricorn cusp. So it's more stable, it's more cardinal, it's more able to embrace the beginning energies rather than the mutable energies of Aquarius Pisces. Our heart's gone from a very fast, active Western astrology Aries Venus into a Pisces Venus, a more mutable Venus. So we're taking our heart away from the global collective axes and putting it into the more understanding to be mutable, understanding to adapt to certain situations, to be able to change with people differently. And our Chiron, our wounded healer, the one that we understand and navigate through to get to our spiritual goddess, our spiritual god, all of it, our spiritual warrior, our spiritual warrioress, all of the positive connotations that go with all of that, is gone from Taurus, the stubborn bull. So he's gone in moon time now. I thought moon time already. Okay, we're going into it deep then, won't we? It's not moon time now. It's end of moon time now. They did say technology start doing funny things. It's Saturn time. So did we hear moon time, or did the technology say Saturn time? No, because it's moon. Moon. We go by sound, and moon is 1 syllable. Saturn is 2 syllables. Because it says Venice instead of Venus. We were going too deep. We need to be brought in external reality more. Why were we going too deep then? We're not why were we going too deep. It's all about the question. That's the wrong question, isn't it? But we're not meant to say wrong or right. That's duality, reality. That's not the appropriate line question for this moment. We were going too deep, and we weren't meant to go too deep because we're doing this. That was as far as we're meant to go. We're not meant to know the reason. So we're going to go to the toilet, because when we go to the toilet of a mimi, it shifts the cycle. You know, the drum vibrate when we cough. Did we hear it or did we feel it? I think we actually maybe felt it and heard it. I don't think we can sit like that with this behind us. You're finding a way though, aren't you? Okay, so we just did a gargling to stimulate the vagus nerve, cold water therapy on the wrists and the face and the mouth, and we snorted some water, which causes the coughing. It used to be, it was just like called a netty, and it used to be agony doing that up in our sinuses, but it's really good. Our sinuses don't hurt anymore. But because all this is so loose and you see it's not connected, it's helping. We do certain breaths and we have our tongue in a certain place in the mouth as we're doing that to help rewire and reconnect these systems for the respiratory systems. We did it in the bath before, which is different because we're laying down. That's why it's important for us to clean our teeth in the bath sometimes as well, to do with all of this. Because when we didn't used to clean our teeth for weeks on end, it's all to do with the physical pain and all of this. And then the reaction of the toothpaste. I think we've got 6 different toothpastes now. We couldn't do the mint because it would be whatever. So yeah. Should we attempt to finish off what we were talking about? I think you were talking about the Chiron, weren't you? So Chiron is shifting from a Western astrology of the stubborn, of the wounded healer, a stubborn bull, earthly grounded energies, into Aries, which is the fire active energies. So we perceive as we make this shift that it's going to get quicker and easier. Because when one altar is out, we say soon. One altar might say soon, but soon to them is they might come out, but then they might not be out for a few weeks. But then when they come out again, it's like it was yesterday, but even though 3 weeks has passed, for them it wasn't, it was yesterday. And so that's where accuracy of words don't happen very well, because it's, you know, the time lapses and stuff depending which one's out. But which ones are out depends on the energies, triggers, but also the energies of the cosmos and the seasons. And the cycles in the body, hence why there's, from the Chinese medicine perspective, depending what time you wake up in the night depends on what part of the body is related to. But other perspectives, it'll be like, you know, what time you're waking up in the night, and it'll be put into psychic perspectives or planet perspectives. But you see, it's all interconnected. Once you know which astrological signs rules the body, which planets rule the astrological signs, then what parts of the body they rule, it's just about understanding the different layers, the different tiers. So we told you about how to listen, or us told you, because you is us and whoever else is jumping on our energetic train, to listen to the body through the physical sensations and emotions, and different things. We stick to physical sensations because the emotions are too much for us. We give you the visual aids, not to take in the information through the mental mind, but to take in and you don't have to remember it through the conscious mind. Just look at the picture, and maybe when you're looking at the picture, going, oh, subconscious mind, take note of those pictures, because when we're in it later on, or when we're in it for the meditation, we can just go, oh, can you go back to that picture and look at that? But that's the conscious mind still doing it. But if we are in the conscious mind and we're not able to settle because the body, a traumatized body, doesn't like to get still, but we're attempting to learn how to get still and balanced, because the physical body needs to get still and balanced to recharge and regenerate and rest. And that's why the bath's good. I mean, sometimes we can't even do it in the bath. Sometimes we have to watch something on our phone in the bath first, and then to wind us down. And the bath's good because it's got boundaries of the bath. So it stops the hypermobility and dislocating and subluxing, so we don't have to constantly use our muscles to keep ourselves in or to support ourselves. Also in the water, that has an impact on it. Also the pressure, you can get your ears blocked, and any hole or orifice is blocked by water. So there's it creates a different pressure in the body. This is going into pots, postural pots. Which, so the pots gives us the understanding of the pressure in the body, which is the blood pressure. The EDS gives us the understanding of the electromagnetic energy in the body, whereas the blood pressure and the blood is the electrochemical energy. So our specific group of labels are our gifts, because all of them together, now we are understanding them, and what it's giving for us is giving us the understanding of the quantum biomechanics of the body. And eventually we're balanced on right and left hemispheres. We got the only A's we got at school were maths and art. And so more, as our body continues to develop, because we're getting the ligaments back on our hands, they're puffing out more, and the muscles, these would all disappeared and gone. We're getting the really important concavity and indentation, the suckers on the palms. And so when we get this more, and when we sort out the upper back, because that's been the main one, we'll actually be able to start drawing again and reading more, because at the moment we don't do those things because the body can't handle it. Hence why we do watch a lot of stuff, because that's how we learn. I think something just came a minute ago with Sam Webster, didn't it? We learned about that, the mucosa membrane, a little while before, which tends to get ripped and teared in pregnancy, but that's what happens to us. But it's not just in the stomach, it's happened throughout the whole body. But also we thought it was the stomach that was all blocked and twisted, creating the big stomach in us, which gets full of fluids because it can't go round. But from watching his video and what he says, because we're constantly putting our questions out to the multiverse to then receive, to go, help us, please. We need certain types of information to understand from the conscious perspective more of the body, because it can't all just be done subconsciously. And you know, to survive the physical pain, to survive being able to cope in reality, to suppress the young alternate personality so that others could accept us more and we could accept ourselves more. And that's what we were trained to do when we were younger, because it's all been programmed into us that we're not accepted, we're not allowed to be authentic, we're blah, blah, blah. we've smoked a lot of weed, which we don't do anymore. So the weed also calmed us down. So people judge weed and say it's bad or it's this, that, and the other, but you don't judge someone taking Ritalin for ADHD. And it's different. One person that's hyped up is taking Ritalin, it calms them down. The person that isn't hyped up takes Ritalin and it amplifies them. There's an opposite. And we're very opposite to the majority of people. So for people to make assumptions and judge us through their lens of perception, their lenses of experience, is just wrong, even though you can't get out of the reality on the word is there. It's inaccurate, it's not aligned. And in doing that, it's caused us more pain and harm with their words and with their subconscious energies of these projections that they're not even aware of that they do, because generally people don't understand the unseen energetics and the important role that this has in the world. But that's the paradigm shift again. But people are suffering because of this ignorance. They say ignorance is bliss, but it's only bliss for the ignorant. It's not bliss for all the people around them, which more unnecessary sufferings caused on them. So now when we go into the visuals, it's about the visual learning. And so what we're doing for all this process as well, and why there's so much of it, is because it's creating new memories. So every time we get triggered with the numbers or the words or the letters, we now have been doing all the poetry videos and everything. And therefore, when we get triggered by the numbers, words, or the letters, it will go to that automatic trigger and the automatic memory and habitual unserving pattern from the childhood. But then there's a new memory created, and then it connects onto that straight away. And that's the one that feels better. It's more joyful. So then we pull onto that, because humans just want to feel good at the end of the day. They want to feel harmonious and connected. But when one's being brought up through dissonance and lots of not good feelings and abusive situations, that becomes the familiar habitual pattern, and that's sad. And that's where everything that's shifting at the moment and changing. But the way we talk about stuff is very different again, because what's working for the masses or the perceived masses isn't working for us because of our difference. But we don't really feel that we're that different. We just feel that the manipulation of statistics and the information that's out there at the moment is information that is come out of the current societal systems, which don't understand it properly, because if they did understand it properly, they would have started with science research on the 99.99% space, which is the larger sum of it, which is ironic because most people want the higher and the larger, don't they, because of the greed mentality. But they haven't. So therefore, the whole statistics and everything that's produced is subconsciously manipulated to prove results that say this is how it is and look at the stats, but they're not accurate. They're not aligned. And so we feel that actually the majority of people out there are people like us, but they're people that are introverted. They're people that don't speak out. They're people that can't speak out. But they absorb the energies and the rest of the stuff. And as evolution shifts, as the new earth comes in, there will be more accurate and aligned statistics that come in to show this information of how it's the current society, it's the current governments and systems and application of these systems and application of the knowledge, which is back to front and upside down and inside out, that's all going to get turned around and come out with completely opposite polarized systems and everything that's going on. And you're going to have people like us that's in this middle that can understand the difference of the tradition and the older, or the people that are in our age but still stuck in those networks in the body and the mind belief systems that are in the old programming, rather than the new programming that's coming in from the younger generations. Because it's not just the energetics that come down of when one is born, and so therefore that's their makeup for the rest of their life. We have a conscious choice where we can change our energetic makeup throughout our life as the astrological energies change. So if there's going to be these amazing energies that are coming in and a baby is born on that day, then aren't they the lucky one? But actually, no. We all have that. It's naturally gifted, naturally able. It won't be too much of a challenge for them. It will be more of a challenge for other people, but we all have access to those energies and to change and transform with those energies and utilize the gifts and the stuff from those energies coming in, no matter what age or anything else. It's just easier in certain energetics and not easier in other energetics. Hence why water and oil don't mix, but you bring in an extra helping hand of washing up the liquid and you can integrate them more. It's all to do with alchemization of energetics, which we can understand more in the unseen energetic world through the physical world and the way all this stuff interacts. Tito Pomomo, Tai! Yeah, we really love that because we've been trying to figure that one out for a while, haven't we? Yeah, Tito. Oh, it's going to be so much fun when we get our body back more and we can draw and create and read and play and make, because there's loads of ideas and creations that have been coming into play that we want to do to help us connect more and understand more and grow us all up, but we just haven't been able to do because of our physical limitations. So going into because in the bath also, the bath, not only do you get the pressure, but it's the sound for the auditory ones of us. And that's how they function in the body through the long periods of time when we don't eat and we drink lots of liquid. That creates in these sacs that we talk about that get fill up because they can't go on. That's it. It's the ascending and descending colon, but you've got the transverse colon, and the transverse colon is what expands. And that's the thing in us that we thought was the stomach that keeps expanding and holding liquids, because there's certain blockages where it can't flow properly through the ascending and descending colon, which makes sense because there's been bowel cancer in the family. And if there's bowel cancer, taking out the specific narratives and wording of it, that's an excess or a deficiency. I'd say it's an excess, but we don't really know in this moment precisely, and it's about being as accurate with words as possible, of energetics in that area. But how that energetics manifests or presents depends differently on different people's patterning. But in our genetic genome or makeup, there's an energetic imbalance in that area, but how that presents is different. So that's what's going on for us. And then if you think of a balloon or a twisted balloon or a hose, you can, if it's got a lot of air of it and a lot of water in it, it will move about and shake lots. But if it's got lots of different tubes in it as well, and you can twist it, you can create it so that there's a ball of water and a ball of air, but then you might get a little bit trickling in. And if it's empty, it'll make a different sound to if there's water in this one and there's no water in that one. But actually, no, it's then developed a little bit of water. It'll be like a trickle of a stream or the difference of a waterfall, depending on the holes and the pressures. And this is what one of us does in the body to find out while doing stuff with the tongue and the teeth to change those different tap openings and valve openings in circulatory system. My God, it's all coming together, isn't it? And so we'll be able to draw all this. We'll eventually be able to draw all this and present it in a coherent way, so that we're not just saying it's a spiritual, airy, fairy, energetic world, blah, blah, blah. We'll be showing the interconnectedness of all of this, how it works, how we are just a biomechanical machine that is working on different states of consciousness, from the bacteria that speaks and builds up the building blocks to the cellular bacterial communities, to the cellular communities that then do the cellular community systems of the digestive system, the respiratory system, the circulatory system, that then creates the whole eventually. Hence the importance of the bacteria. And if we can't do certain things, or we don't like something that's perceived healthy for us, it's because we don't have any of that bacteria in us and it's too far the other spectrum. So therefore we have to microdose and bring it in. And it's about slowly, gently releasing the unserving, non-happy, bad bacteria. We want the healthy, happy, bouncy, friendly bacteria in our body. And we can only say that because that is how we live at the moment, because we've had to, because we can't handle the physical pain. And we've wanted to become aware, and we've wanted to do this consciously as much as we possibly can in our situation with the DID. So we've had to release the weed. But even in that process, we've done that for years by we don't give things up. Giving things up is focusing on the positive connotation. It's like focusing on anti-war. It's not about anti-war. If we focus on anti-war, we're focusing on the words anti and the words war. It doesn't matter if they come together, because trauma disconnects, it separates things, and it pulls one thing at a moment in from here and one from in from here, and you've got to put it together. So if we can get all positive connotation wording in the way we use our words, and what came first is the word, then pro-peace. It's only got positive connotation. Hence why sticks and stones may break us, bones and words will never hurt us. It's back to front. We can fix and heal sticks and stones breaking bones. The society and the science and hospitals is amazing at that. But we need to focus our attention elsewhere now. And the body has its own innate, amazing, natural healing capabilities. And we need to stop giving our power away to others and know that we have that in ourselves. If we can learn how to start listening to our body, if we can learn how to not be pedantic and understand what that means, and who better than someone that's autistic and extremely pedantic and got dyslexic and all this stuff going on, but yet got this willpower and this determination to overcome these things, because we desperately want to learn how to connect with people, of which people with autism find very difficult as well. And the autistic people get blamed for it, but it's not their fault. It's the people that aren't autistic, that have these limiting belief systems, that have these limiting views, that have these victim consciousness mentalities, because we live in a society where it comes in that play. And it's about understanding that the autism, the atypical brain, is the brain of the future, because it's multi-layered, because it's multidimensional, because it has the ability to cut off networks in the system and completely go introverted and cut off the external reality to survive, because it can either cut off the internal reality, become over hypersensitive on the external reality to stay in the external reality, but then have this going on. We still haven't got all the words for it yet. So yeah, we'll learn how to put the pictures up on the screen, but some visuals of the heart. Take it in, don't look at the words, take in the visuals, take in the pictures, take in the colour. The red is what's got the fresh oxygen and is alive. The blue has got the carbon dioxide, and which doesn't purify. One can have too much oxygen and too little carbon dioxide. One can have too little oxygen and too much carbon dioxide. I think we said the same thing in different ways, but we mean the opposite. So they're the visuals for your body. I think we've had different information from different places, and that's why we always end up thinking we're getting it wrong, because then we look back and it's like, well, that doesn't say what we thought it was, we're wrong. But it's not that we're wrong, it's because we take in so many different bits of information from different places. So one place we've read that this is the heart, and so our heart on our upper body, on the upper heart, crosses over, but on the lower body in the heart, it's crooked and off center, so there's a gap just to the side of the heart. But in this tooth meridian system that we look at, the heart belongs to the top of the mouth, and it belongs to the far right. Is it the far right, or is it the one in? No, the very far, your wisdom tooth at the top, and your wisdom on both sides. That's with this system. But then that would make sense also, because our wisdom teeth on the top haven't come out. I'm pretty sure it's the bottom one. We'll be able to find this out, because it's basically, I know that you normally have to go in for surgery to have your wisdom teeth pulled out on one of them. And normally if you get your wisdom tooth pulled out on the one of them, whether it's the bottom or the top, you then have to get them, more than likely you'll have to get them pulled out on the other ones. One you can have done at the dentist, the other you have to go into the hospital and have surgery. So it's the one that we got done in the dentist that we had out on the bottom, whenever it was, which we think is the bottom, but not 100%. But this is where we're amazing at playing detective skills on ourselves. Looks like this is going to be a long one again. So on the foot, I think we've pointed this before, but the heart area, it's more so on the left foot than on the right foot, because it's bigger on the left. The right foot is this one, and this is the left. Look at that, I've had a bath, but our nails are still dirty. So there's the heart, so follow the heart to the line. So you've got all that big red area over there and the little red area over here. But this does actually specifically say to the blue, but it's a combination of all of it. Different things say different things again. But again, it's the circulatory system, it's the blood pressure, blood circulation. So that goes around the whole foot. And you can either bring your hands there to gain that awareness, or you can just think of the area, think of the foot and the rest of it. So we're going to do the heartbeat drum first, and I think it's going to be in a heartbeat rhythm, but I don't know. Our stick broke, but they tend to use both ends. And then we've got this one. So we were doing it the other day. I think we did it as a practice run because we thought we were going to do it last night. It wasn't last night. We had yesterday off. It was the day before. We thought we were going to do it on Sunday, but it was just doing it the once was too much. So that was a practice run. That obviously did something in us. We then had to recover and do what we needed to do yesterday, which didn't involve much. And then today we're going to be doing it. So it'll be interesting because we've had a bath, so we're a lot more flexible. So there might be a lot of jolting and jarring. So we might have to move that back in saying that. At the end, we're going to do the sharp tuning forks. The sharp tuning forks are the black keys. The black keys on the keyboard connect the white keys. The white keys are the chakras. So the sharps will connect all the chakras. So we'll put that connecting in at the end after we've done the drum heartbeat to connect us into Mother Earth and the shamanic grounding and to connect us into our body and to connect us into our physical heart. Then we'll do the tuning forks of the Salvatio sequency tuning forks. Of which we're about to read to you at the moment because they release a whole pile of, we're going to read it all to you at the moment and then we're just going to do, because then we'll get out of the mind. So we've done that, we've done the visuals for you, we've done the thingy at the beginning. We've got the planets we've got the Earth, the Moon and the Sun, which we'll do. Are we going to do the 64 as well? Yeah, we're going to do 64. Well, no, let's not do the 64 because we've got the heartbeat and we've got too many here. And we were going to do that with the 32. We've got Neptune, blood, brain, bone, fat cells, because the bone is inside of the bones that produce white blood cells, lungs, and Jupiter, because Jupiter and Neptune rule traditional and modern rulers of Pisces, which is the Pisces sun. Sun is the planet that rules Leo. So we've got an overlapping of planetary areas here because we're working with the Pisces sun energies. We're bringing in Neptune and Jupiter because they rule Pisces, and the sun because it's the Pisces sun. But then the sun rules Leo, so that's what we'd use for the Leo moon. And we then have the moon and the and Earth. So we'll have all those frequencies. We're just going to do it once on each tuning fork. We're going to bash the tuning. I'm not going to bash. We're meant to be gentle, guys. We're going to gently tap the tuning fork on our carpeted floor because we didn't get the rubber block or the handle things that we've got, and it's too much when we do it together with each other. And to create an interval, we're going to use the 5-1. We're going to do all these body ones first. We're going to do the heartbeat drum first, then we're going to do all those body parts to connect us into our body through the higher frequencies of the tuning forks of the planets and the body parts. When we say that, so the tuning forks we relate to India and yoga, and more of that kind of spiritual gods and stuff. So we call that the higher thing, but it's the frequencies of the blood. So the blood is in the body, but it's through more of a spiritual deities and gods and that kind of thing, rather than a shamanic, which is groundly and earthly. So it's like the heaven and the hell. Hell's the earth, heaven's the cosmos. So the tuning forks relate to like the cosmos, even if they're body tuning forks, and the nature and grounded. So some people can be too much, and if you relate this into the body, it's people that are more in their body and grounded, really connected to earth and in their body, so therefore can get a bit more sucked into the pleasures and the senses of the desires of the senses and the sensory systems, because that's why we're here. We're incarnate into human bodies to be able to do that. So it's not about completely releasing them, but it's about gaining moderation and discipline. Moderation, number 14, discipline, 41, 14 being the number of the temperance card, which is the card of Sagittarius, which is the ruler of the thighs. And there's a whole thing there to do on the energetics and the patterning that connects to everything else, because each of these, the heart will connect out to every part of the body. You have like if you do tarot, it'll be the 10 of cups. The red, let's say the heart's green, you have the green threads going to every other chakra and everywhere part of the body. So then you're going into like string art. But then the thickness of the string, the thinner string threads would be the nasal parts, and those nasal parts go to the external body and the real deep internal body. And the thicker threads would be the mouth, and which goes in through the bit in the middle that kind of connects. I don't know, we're still learning all the words on this, but that's kind of, we're getting better on that with the descriptions. So then after we've done the planets and the body part tuning forks, we're then going to go into the Salvatio frequencies, which are there's 9 of them. This has only got 6 written on. The sacred Salvatio tuning forks are available in complete set of the sacred Salvatio tuning forks are a set of forks in the sacred frequencies known as the secret Salvatio. These were discovered by Dr. Joseph Puello using the ancient Pythagorean method of reducing the verse numbers to their single-digit integers. The codes revealed a series 6 of electromagnetic sound frequencies that correspond to the 6 missing tones of the ancient Solfeggio scale. These original sound frequencies were used in ancient Gregorian chants. These chants and their special tones, so when you think of chanting, it's a lot more Indian and Om Mani, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Namah Shivaya, and that's all the Indian goddess kind of ones, but they really bring the body into this vibratory state rather than the shamanic rattles and flute, or the Native American Indian flutes, the grounded tribal instruments. These chants are their special tones were believed to give tremendous spiritual blessings when sung in harmony during religious masses. These frequencies can now be produced with the help of these sacred Solfeggio tuning forks. And when this has just brought us into with the charts. So when we're doing shadow work, the shadows is what's darker, it's what's hidden, it's the nervous system that's not been activated, it's not been lit up. So if we are going into what's familiar, let's say we do astrology and we do it through our Western astrology chart, and we've got quite au fait and quite familiar with that, but we're wanting to do more shadow work, then we have to get back into the unknown. We have to get into the unfamiliar, because those are the parts of us that we don't know about, that we're in denial about. So swapping from the Western astrology chart into the Vedic astrology chart, although it's about learning something new again, and it can be a bit challenging and a bit frustrating, if we're really wanting to understand the shadow aspects of ourselves, the unfamiliar, the unknown parts of ourselves, and that we have to go and use those tools that are unfamiliar, that might bring some dissonance into the body again. And that's where we take our power back, and that's where we get to know ourselves and be empowered by going, well, actually, okay, I can only handle this much dissonance, so I will look into that for a little bit, but I'm just going to do it a little bit at a time, then put it aside, go back to the familiar, let things settle, and then go back into it again. And this is where we do the breath work and the meditation, passive, active, sound meditation, vocal sounding, sun gazing, and so many, staring at the water, visual meditation, so many different meditations from the different sensory systems, because we learn through our sensory systems. So not always watching stuff, not always listening to stuff, physically doing stuff. We're very much a kinesthetic learner, so that then we can absorb that information. It's the autobiography of the yogi. They talk about this masses in that. They do it condensed back in the day, and they sit there in the posture for the alignment of the body. But we can't do that because our body's disconnected, because it causes pain because of the protruding disc in our lower back. But we will eventually be able to do that. But until then, we do our Shintosai on the floor, in bed, wherever it needs to be done, upside down on the couch in a restorative position. So we're getting our legs higher than our heart. But it's still at an angle, so it doesn't affect the neck, which got compressed heaps from doing all our headstands and our yoga stuff and other situations in our yoga, which we did for ages, but we weren't aligned in our physical and external body. But everything like this has happened for a reason. So it's about delving into the unfamiliar in stages, doing these focused, aware, conscious state, present state practices in between, so that integration can take part, and then delving back into it again, rather than just bombarding ourselves with heaps of mental mind information, which can overload, overstimulate, and the rest of it. It's about utilizing our heart brain, our heart mind, our body brain, our body mind more. So the Solfeggio frequencies of this one are 369 hertz for liberating guilt and fear, 417 hertz, 396 hertz equals 9, which is the UT Quent Laxes. Ray, so that's Ute. Ray, RE, or Ute, UT, UT, equals 417 hertz, which equals 3, because if you add 7 and 1, it's 8, 8 and 4 equals 12, 12 added together equals 3. And that's the Resonaire Fibri. Mi, MI, equals 528 hertz, added together equals 6. So that's the Mirror Gestorum. And so it goes on. So 417 hertz is for facilitating change and support. The Mi, or my, 528 hertz is for transformation, miracles, and DNA. And that's the one that we're going to use as the interval stabilizer, anchor point throughout all the other tuning forks that we do at the beginning and at the end. But at the end, it's just going to be the 5 sharp tuning forks, where at the start, it's going to be the 9. It's going to be all the planets and the body parts we read out earlier, and the 9 Salvatio. Then we'll go into a meditation where we'll probably talk, which will happen after we probably do some vocal sounding. And then when after the meditation, some more breath work's done, then we'll do the sharp tuning forks, and then we'll close it off. Fa 6, 3, 9 hertz equals 9, and that's family trorum for connecting and relationships. Then we'll go to Sol, which is 741 hertz, which equals 3, which is Solve Pluti for awakening intuition. And then we'll go to La, 852 hertz, which equals 6, which is Labai Retum. Probably excuse pronunciations again, which is for returning to spirit. So on here, we've got them all written down. So 2H5 hertz. So the ones that were missing on there is 174, which equals 3, 285, which equals 6, and 963, which equals 9. 174 is the pain one, I think. So safety, energy, and survival are linked with the Salvatio frequencies at 285 hertz. It is so that would be your baby finger sense of survival. It's a frequency linked to the root muladhara or chakra, which is red. It is the body's most fundamental and primal energy center at the base of a person's spine. This chakra regulates all the energy related to safety, survival, and instinct. Our protruding discs at the base of our spine. We understand it's all connected, we've just not been able to communicate it to anyone. But this is why we've had to go through what we've had to go through. It's why we've fallen through the holes and the cracks in all the systems, so that we get to do it our way. Because otherwise we wouldn't have done it. We would have done what authority figures said when we took when we got given the medication before going into the psych ward. We didn't want it, and we said no. But it was shift changeover, and you had a whole pile of cops, and you had all the nurses there. So after a few times of saying no and being told you have to, we regressed to the age of 2. We're going to take it because that's what you do. Otherwise, you go to jail. That's the mentality from the mix up of the distortions of a regressed 2-year-old flitting between attempting to grasp the conscious reality and what's going on. And there's heaps of cops around, then losing 4 days, coming through unable to use the body or the voice, and you've got 8 people physically restraining you. It's like, whoa, what's going on? How are we going to get out of this one? And then we get ourselves back, we compose ourselves again, we have a meeting with all these people in the room, when really it should have just been one person, because then we've only got one person's energy to navigate and we can communicate, rather than 8 different people in the room, or however many different people in the room. I think it was 2, couple of trainees, a brother, a friend, and another one. So it would have been about 8 people with us, maybe. We're not sure exactly on that one. But luckily we'd learned about the medication, we'd learned about the half-lives, and we said, okay, we will take it. We take it only one at a time. We take what we agree to with short half-life, so it doesn't impact another one. It will flip us, and then we'll refuse it. So we gave them the information first in a way that we could just manage it because we're prepared. And then that's when we could witness ourselves properly as well, because when we weren't always, because we've spent ourselves being in controlling all this our whole life, subconsciously controlling it, so that we can be accepted and so we don't get put in a mental health hospital. But when we had the drugs given to us the second time in the way that we said, we were able to still be able to witness it rather than get completely off into la la land with whatever they had given us the first time round, and we had a reaction to it because we said this right at the start. We said right at the start to the doctors, when we went to the doctors, this is right at the beginning, when things were desperate, saying, look, can we have the test done that they do in America? Because with our EDS, we're allergic to certain medications. But of course, they didn't do that in England. And the doctor the first doctor was good, and he was a trainee doctor, although we had a bit of judgment because he was a trainee at the start, but he was actually a better one. But then he left to another practice, and then the doctor that came in then just put it all down to emotional stuff. He wasn't listening to us. We get told by doctors not to Google. He Googled in front of us about the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, and told us we were wrong because he obviously hadn't brought the picture up or it hadn't come up on there. But we were actually right. I mean, how we bring out the unprofessional in the professionals, which triggers them, because that's one of our gifts. We naturally just trigger people because of our deep internal child state of empowerment and play, we bring out those energies in other people, and it then brings them out of their professionality into their triggers, where they then say and do stuff which causes pain and suffering on us, because we've then had to get to this moment to have those experiences, to dissect them, to spend years going, are we making this up? Is this whatever? To be put in a psych ward and go, we are not making this up. It is not pseudo memory syndrome. We do not empty a room with our moods. We've been living and suffering and physical pain our whole life, on top of the sexual abuse, on top of the emotional pain from our mum's suicide and losing our mum, on top of the divorce, on top of whatever. And we've just been putting more stuff on top of that because of the way people use their words, because of the way systems work. But we don't want to project this back. And we probably have done this a bit over our videos. And that really hurts us, because we don't like causing pain on other people. But we have been in this dissociated states where we're not able to change it. Because the hardest thing isn't waking up to denial. The hardest thing is being awake and being aware and present with oneself, doing things that they don't want to be doing that's causing harm on them or others. But that's the journey that one has to do to then realize they can change it. And it doesn't just happen overnight. Maybe it can for some if their body's all naturally connected. But if you're someone that's so distorted and so miswired, and you've got all these personalities and the whole body's disconnected, it doesn't work like that. But we don't want to project this pain on others. We don't want to blame others. We don't want to blame ourselves like we have done our whole life. But there is no way carved out. And we've been carving away, trailblazing, finding a path that can be compassionate to us and compassionate to others with the best of our ability in each and every moment. And to our perfectionist, judgmental selves, we've not done a very good job, because we've said and done stuff that's hurt other people. But to the ones of us that are now being more compassionate and gentle and patient, it wasn't our fault. We've done so much good in the world already, and we've managed to keep all this in and generally not hurt people, if we are to compare ourselves with others, to a fraction of the amount that other people generally project out and do to other people, which we've been at the repercussions endings of many times. And we've kept a smile. And we're finding ourselves again, and we're putting all this together, and we're going to continue developing our word and strengthening our word and our language, even with the limitations of dyslexia and even with all the other limitations, because when we overcome them all, we get this new package, we know it's going to be from the deepest depths of our hearts of compassion for ourselves, because we've done it for ourselves, which we can then put into a package which anyone else that wants to do, that's receptive to, can do it. And then if they do get triggered or anything else, that's just because that's the process of learning to grow and learning to heal, because the triggers are our guides, are our teachers. But at least if it's done from a place of most awareness and most present in the moment, like Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of the Now, from the deepest depths of the heart, which goes past the ego heart of the adult, past the ego heart of the child, past the heart of the soul, into the heart of the spirit, which is the oneness, the interconnectedness of everything, which comes from within first. What pure state can that come from? Because nothing of anyone else's has fully worked for us. But when we take a tiny, tiny fraction from everyone else's and put it all together and then add on all of our stuff, we've got something that works for us. And because of our extreme oppositions of alternate personalities and belief systems and different cultures from all around the globe and many perspectives, we can create a whole sphere which has got a real balanced oscillation and equilibrium, central point of vacuum, zero gravity, the void, pure potential, where pure creation stems from. And we've always fallen for people's pure potential. So yeah, okay, we had a strong reaction response on that 528 hertz, didn't we? 639 healing interpersonal relationships using 639 hertz is a frequency with an ability to reconnect because it allows one to meditate on themselves, their life, and those of the people they value and love. And we've put this out there and we get worried because we put all this out there. Maybe it's not quite right and it's going to draw people in, and we haven't done it in the conventional way with all the wording. And now in this moment, we understand, but that's okay, because we have put out in the electromagnetic field at the most fundamental level that this only reaches the people it's meant to reach, so it can't harm anyone. Oh, phew, that's really good news to hear. That releases a lot of anxiety and pain. Problem solving and improving emotional stability using 741 hertz. It allows the mind to expand. We were just counting and thinking it was more than 6, but it's not quite 9, but we missed the one right at the very top, which doesn't have subtitles. So it's interesting that we missed that one. That's going to came first, but it's going to come last. Problem solving and improving emotional stability using 741 hertz. It's related to that number, but in a different permutation. It allows the mind to expand, filling it with various solutions and new ways for self-expression. It unwinds a person's worries and troubles, allowing one to think freely. It creates room for a healthier and stable emotional position and time for more profound intuition. To create harmony with the universe and yourself, use the 852 hertz Salvagio frequencies so that you can heighten your intuitions. We had very gentle release in our back left shoulder blade there, and that's all pay. It creates room for a healthier, stable emotional position and time for more profound intuition. To create harmony with the universe, it's hard work keeping on track of it when we switch and associate. So to create harmony with the universe and yourself, use the 852 hertz Salvagio frequencies so that you can heighten your intuitions and alignment with spiritual orders. You can connect with an omnipresent spirit in the universe and bring back harmony to yourself. We like that poem bucket omnipresent one, don't we? Should we put that on later? Yeah, we like that one. Okay. The 963 hertz Salvagio frequencies create room for oneness and unity. It awakens your interactions with oneness and interconnectedness with the universes. You get pure and bright visions and thoughts in your mind. And then the last one, which was the first one that we didn't read. Yeah, that's really painful. Relieving pain and tension. The 174 hertz frequencies relieves a person from tension and pain. When one is listening to this type of music, they will observe their breath gradually slowing down, making them very relaxed as they drift off to quiet meditation. Healing frequencies will relax the muscles, thereby alleviating tension or pain. And then at the end, the Sharp's tuning fork set has 5 tuning forks. These are based on the Pythagorean or just scale. The harmonic spectrum set is also based on this scale. The Sharp set and the harmonic spectrum set together make a complete octave in the scale mentioned above. Their frequencies are derived from the traditional Hindu chakras. They are in the same middle octave, with C being the root chakra, D the sacral chakra, and so on. This set occupies the absent link between the basic frequencies of life and the chakras. Now, we've heard a different one where C is the heart rather than F. And that really got us for a while. But then it just depends how deep or what layer or what dimension one's tapping into the heart. Because if the heart's connecting to every chakra, then the heart's all the chakras, which means it's all the numbers, all the notes. This link is very important when you have to do any of the following. When transition is to be made from one frequency to another, when transition is to be made from one chakra to the next, when transition is to be made from one element to the next during human evolution and involution. Evolution inwards. It is very important in the vibrational makeup of all life. It should be noted that all these frequencies are of the vibrations from intersections of Ida and Pingala, while they cross each other at the Sushumna. So the Sushumna is the central channel, number 11. And Ida and Pingala, Ida might not be this way around, and Pingala, they create the figure of eights. And from another book that we've got, the figure of eight is on each plane. So you've got the front plane, you've got the transverse figure of eight, and then you've got the medial. We said that that's the transverse, that's the medial, and yeah, Sagittarial. Oh yeah, we can't bring them all together at once. They're different altars. It's too much. So yeah, it just depends to call different things, but we understand it all. We've got so much profound knowledge in us. We really have. Only the A sharp is an exception to this fact. Ty, I think our flute's turned to an A sharp tune. It's tuned to 432 hertz, but I think it might be an A sharp, And that's what's us playing on all of our poetry videos, on our daily poet video from now onwards. And we're almost up to date. We've got one more to do of the past, which is the life and soul, titled The Life and Soul of the Party. So once we do that one, that's going to clear all those frequencies, because we go by colour and words, a lot of us, and date and numbers. And so then when we do that one, we're literally only doing present, but our present won't be the present, it'll be the future, because we're going to get ahead of ourselves, and we're going to get a couple of months ahead of ourselves, because that's what patterns on YouTube do, or with any kind of self-employed business you do, because all of this is basically different ones of us setting different tasks and challenges to get us to show up for ourselves, to distract us while learning the skills that our younger ones need to learn, so that we can start having an online business and doing self-employed in a way that we can do that accommodates all our physical and mental health limitations. Because we're overcoming that real deep lack of self-worth and that real deep money issue belief systems that come from going back how far generations, I don't know, but deep from this life generation. I don't know about any past lives, it doesn't really matter, but the family lineage, I'm not sure, I think it goes quite far back on our family lineage as well. And I think we're the one in our family lineages that's done least well financially, because we're not driven by money, we're driven by heart. We're not driven by conventional success, we're driven by our understanding of success. The 5 sharps tuning forks are based on sacred chalice. So this is going more into Chinese medicine terminology, not on sacred chalice. I think that might be Indian. I don't know about that one, but it has the dantian in it. I don't know, it's got a few in it. So sacred chalice is C sharp, 266.6 hertz. Dantian, D sharp, 300 hertz. Higher heart, F sharp, 355.5 hertz. Brain stem, G sharp, 400 hertz. Hence why I also had the brain in with the tuning forks of this to connect the brain and heart connections. And higher brain centers, A sharp, 444.4 hertz. The sacred chalice, C sharp, the sacred chalice is the physical container into which the divine can enter and be held. So that's the pelvis. The pelvis is like a bowl. It's where the psoas muscle is, the psoas major and the psoas minor, or the ilius psoas. And it's where all fear, trauma, anxiety is stored. Hence, with people that can't dance with their hips, it's because there's a lot of trauma, maybe not from this life, but maybe their parents and the next generation's lives, stored in their pelvis. And if you're really hypermobile in your pelvis and you can really open up your hips, then you've counterbalanced that and gone the other way, but they're probably not they're not connected, or you're disconnected in some form or way. We know some guys that used to be able to sit in that position really well. They also used to smoke a lot of weed though. So it's like the complete opposite, because that's how it works. That's how we can get opposite ends of the spectrum. But we want to aim for that central pivot of balance in the middle of the seesaw. Or if you've got the X, Y, Z, X, minus X, minus Y, minus Z, it's the zero gravity in the middle. Zero in the middle.
All right. Take care.
Bye. We're just going to go for Mummy. Ethan. Oh. Okay. So we just done the internal nervous system cold water therapy with cold water on our gums, the gargling, the stimulation of the vagus nerve. Oh, we weren't coughing as much this time. We did do a snort too. Oh, energy. We're going into deep energies. We're not going to do anything for the rest of the day. We might edit those last two. We might edit those two books though. And then we probably rest. Look. Time for expansion, Jupiter. We just had contraction with Saturn. Now we've got Jupiter expansion. We've got some trap wind that might come up in a minute. Our Goat's Cafe just arrived. The sacred chalice is a physical container into which the divine can enter and be held. In other words, it is a channel for divine energy and consciousness. This frequency of the sacred chalice resides between the root and sacral chakras. The colour is orange-red. Dantian, D sharp 300 Hertz, is frequency. This is frequency of the Dantian. Dantian is described as an important focal point for internal meditative techniques and refers specifically to the physical center of gravity located in the abdomen, about 3 fingers width below and 2 fingers width behind the navel. I thought that was the energetic hara, and I thought the sacrum was the physical center of gravity for the body. I've got lots to check up on. The Dantian, or the Dantian, D-A-N-T-I-A-N, or the Dan space T-N, D-A-N space T-I-E-N, is important in breathing technique and meditation. It is considered the physical center of gravity of the human body and is the seat of one's internal energy. The color is gold. So it's no wonder we don't know these things, because we don't really have it in our body. but we will have it in our body. Higher heart, F sharp, 355.5 hertz is the frequency, is located between throat and heart. It's also called Ananda Kanda. It is an important activator of higher consciousness. We can't go higher without going lower first. When open and balanced, we feel compassion and forgiveness for all, including ourselves. The colour is blue-green. Brainstem, G sharp 400 hertz. The brain, and again, it's got brainstem or brainstem as the two separate words or one word, is the lower part of the brain adjoining and structurally continuous with the spinal cord. This is an extremely important part of the brain as the nerve connections of the motor and sensory systems, and that's for us as well. When you notice everything that happens, it all makes sense. From the main part of the brain to the rest of the body pass through the brainstem. The brainstem also plays an important role in the regulation of cardiac and respiratory function. It also regulates the central nervous system and is pivotal in maintaining consciousness and regulating the sleep cycle. The colour is royal blue. Higher brain centres, A sharp 444.4 hertz. Higher brain centres act as training wheels for the lower brain by enabling it to adapt to enabling it to adapt to injury. We've adapted a lot to all our injuries. So much so that now when it's come time to raise our consciousness for all the practice and dedication that we've done our whole life, it hasn't been able to because the body's been so destroyed. But it's the destruction, creation cycle, degeneration, regeneration. We can regenerate our bodies. And we believe that, and we're proving it, and we're showing it. It's amazing. I can't believe it. But we have to, because this is how we connect to the intuition and the different intuitive centers of the body. Otherwise, we're just going to get distorted messages and signals. But we're able to see the first half of our life as being pure chaos and pretty much hell. But with no real, we've had a lot of fun, we've made a lot of decent friends and met a lot of people, but we've never fully been able to live or rest because we've always been in these fight, flight, adrenaline modes, and it's always involved intoxication, which we never used to do when we were younger. Because we have these natural gifts just by being around people that are intoxicated, we feel it and we get intoxicated, but then we can snap out of it because we're not really intoxicated. It's just through the energy because we're so super hypersensitive to the energy. But the next half of our life, we can foresee so much deep, real, true, just to feel the enjoyment for life rather than just always wanting to die. We're really looking forward to it. But honestly, we've started feeling it now. Our little ones are really, we love our home that we've created and the space that we've created. I mean, it's a complete educational healing therapy sanctuary, but that's because that's what we need. But it's beautiful and it's warm and it's cozy and it's relaxing. We're very skilled and very talented. We will get on with the garden as and when we can. There's no rush, even though we want to rush to be in alignment with the seasons, but we have to be in alignment with what our body can handle, which is slow and gentle, with lots of restorative stuff before to make us able to do it in the first place, and lots of restorative stuff afterwards to then manage the physical pain. And higher brain centers act as training wheels for the lower brain by enabling it to adapt to injury. These areas of the brain not only regulate everything in our physical body, but also beyond physical levels. The colour is indigo violet. So we're not going to do the tuning forks like we said. We're ending where we started on Sagittarius, from an internal cycle perspective. but the difference on the pattern will be the external. So it'll be a micro fractal perspective on the internal. What the external, it will be a Sagittarius moon we started on, and we'll end on a Sagittarius moon. But when we started on a Pisces sun Sagittarius moon, we're going to end on an Aries sun Sagittarius moon energies. And we're on Leo now, so we've got Virgo next, which is extremely healing, and it got an eye for detail. And we did our Virgo full moon thing in the field. We've watched that back too. So this is all different altars that are up there putting this all together. It's all being sorted out, so it's all coming together. So Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, which is going to be the biggie, and the Scorpio is actually on the cusp. So the Scorpio is going to be on the cusp of Pisces sun and Aries sun energies. So they're both going to come in for the Scorpio, which we need, I think. And that makes sense because the Scorpio is the pelvis area, the groins, the genitals, the reproductive organs. And so Aries is the head and face, the starting of the new cycle, and Pisces is the undoing, the unwinding, the unraveling, the subconscious, the feet, the end of a cycle. So to bring them all in together, the feet, the head, and the pelvis, and the body will grab that. Hi. We'll bring it all together, body, feet and head, and pelvis. Yeah. Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. 4. Sagittarius, we do the sharps because that's got an S in it and an A. Okay. And then pelvis, when you've got the head and the feet, we do Salvatio. Okay. Virgo, nothing. Nothing on Virgo? No. Virgo is detail. We don't need too many details within the details. It'd be too much. Okay, thank you. So we do the planets and the body parts with Libra, because let's get Libra's balance, and plus we're going to do Libra on the Friday night, so it's on the same day as the full moon, because that's on Friday morning. We're doing this with our wrist just to let you know and to let us know. We're squeezing it real tight now. So that's the left hip pelvis. So we're accessing all our deepest parts of our body and our alignment and our meridians type thing through our feet, our hands, and our face, our jaw. So yeah, it's the balancing one on the Friday. So we're going to have the Virgo, the disseminating, the waning Virgo full moon energies on the Friday with the Libra. Libra's balance, the luminaires are shining for the same amount of time. Oppositely though, because the moon's up at night mostly and the sun's up in the day. And the Virgo's the next one where we're not having any. So today we're just going to do the drum, which is good because it's got on late already with time's flowing by as we switch between loads of altars. So we could still keep going, but we need to do nothing now. There's ones of us going, well, what's happening on Virgo then? And we're not sure what's happening on Virgo. We don't need to know what's happening on Virgo. This is what we need to know. We need to know that we don't need to know. Okay? Got that, guys? Is it watching this back? It's okay not to know. It's better if we don't know. It calms down our poor brain. And I know they say that this is a certain type of person and blah, 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 blah. But I reckon this happens to people that use their mind too much. And the body and the patterning's taking these parts of the pattern back and this part forward, where this needs to go back and that needs to come forward. We'll see down the time if all this happens and changes, won't we? Because we've got all this video evidence to compare it to in future. So we're generally right-handed, so we'd hold the drum with our left hand but our left wrist and hand sore. We'd also change the patterns, we'd switch it around. So I think we're going to hold the drum in our right hand. We're meant to move this back now, aren't we? Can you see the holes in the rice paper? No. Okay. We've got our groins open, but we've got our feet flat on the ground, which shows our hammer toes come from that knuckle, but not the end. So it's this presenting the free in the middle that's separated from the outside as well, interestingly. So we're going to put you back a bit. We're going to put our tongue in the gap of the tooth up there. And then like that. And up her back. Looks like we stay there for a while. Oh wow, that really released the sinuses. Okay, we're not going to talk after this. We're not going to do a guided meditation. We're just doing some drumming. We're just doing some drumming, man. Don't know where that's coming from. Okay. Hey.
Thôi thọ phôn nạp hay nụ cháy đỏ.